Hello and welcome to a Smurfy video, and today we are looking at X-Men issue 27 by Gerry Duggan. And on the front of this cover we have the trading card variant, which has Rasputin 4, and on the back some stats, etc. If you want to pause, you can read that if you like. I hope I didn't remove that too quickly. So, the issue begins with the world is changing. Gyrick has been making these sort of rehabilitation centers or prisons, etc. in this war. And that's probably the first time I've actually acknowledged this is actually a war. This is a war for survival of the mutants against Orchis and their organization. And it's a big thing, and their numbers are dwindling. So we actually, most people probably would have expected Cyclops to be the one. She goes, "Oh, it's you," but no, it's Juggernaut. He is healed from the beating he took from Nimrod, etc. And he's got this collar, and this collar is sort of, I can't remember if it's connected to the other side, but there's somebody on the other side, etc. In fact, you can see these sort of wires here and there, and she finds Cyclops. She didn't know what was going on with him, whether he was knocked out, etc., whether he was drugged, but his eyes were sewed up and he was alive. So she was going to try and rescue him. However, she realizes that this is all booby trap. They've set a trap in Cyclops, and that wouldn't be a first time. For example, those who remember Operation Zero Tolerance will remember that Bastian planted a bomb inside his chest cavity, which had to be operated in the most hellish environment of an empty mansion at the end of that event, etc. So she can't get out, but this mission is really about, as much as she would like to take Cyclops, I suspect, is about reconnaissance. And sorry, I had to think how to pronounce that in my head because sometimes words don't come out naturally. If you watch my videos long enough, sometimes I say things ridiculously, just like that. She's taken Juggernaut's adamantium collar off, but she says, "Do it tomorrow. Give me a day, please, because then I can do that." And then she says, "We're all X-Men. Resist. Marco, resist." So it's nice to see Juggernaut back in the mix, and, you know, because he was meant to be an X-Man in this new sort of era, and this team has sort of been thrown together. So this is written by Gerry Duggan. Phil Noto is the artist. Clayton Cowles is on the letters. Tom Miller and Jay Bowen are on design. So this is the new X-Men. So the White Queen, Emma Frost, is now sort of stuck. She was going to join this team, but unfortunately they got caught messing around with the dampener ring and by Phelong, and it was misinterpreted as a proposal. So Tony has had to marry her. So Emma Frost is going to be in the Invincible Iron Man. I will do part 2 of that wedding at some point, to because I feel like that is part of this universe. But I don't feel I'm not intending to collect every Invincible Iron Man story going forward just because Emma Frost is in there. And I do get I know it sounds bad, I do get irritated where characters are moved into the rest of the Marvel universe, because sometimes you lose track of characters and certain events in their lives, etc. And there are so many, let's be honest. So this is our X-Men team. We got Cinch leading it. We got Shadowcat, who no longer considers herself Kitty Pryde. We got Laura Kinley. We've got Rasputin 4, and we have the newest mutant, Miss Marvel, thrown into it, and what a way to be thrown into it. So Shadowcat is going to go off and do things she doesn't want. So the rest of the team, now that they've got this Cerebro helmet, they've got it back from Orchis. They are going to speak to Mr. Fantastic and try and find out what the missing gaps were in his memory. that Magneto and Professor Xavier stole from him. Now, I can't remember if this was at the end of that Fantastic Four miniseries that was at the beginning of the dawn of Krakoa, because it was that long ago, and the question always popped up in the Hellfire Gala between Mr. Fantastic and Professor Xavier. I think that was in two of the three Hellfire Galas we got. I'm sure that was always sort of mentioned or pushed out, and in Mr. Fantastic, he always wanted his memory back, and he, wasn't happy with Xavier. I just wondered, for Kitty Pryde has a long history with this team in terms of how she connected with the younger kids, etc., and them themselves, but she doesn't want to go down memory lane. Kitty Pryde is probably in denial at the moment, and sort of lost in this war, etc. She only wants to be a soldier. She doesn't want to remember who she truly is. This wonderful, wonderful person. So Rasputin 4 is going to drive. Now we get this sort of synthesis here, and basically what this says is that even though she has the powers from 5 mutants, so Query, Rasputin, Bane, not sure who that is, Pryde, and Kinney, not all of them are as strong. So, for example, her telepathic and kinetic powers are not as strong, etc. So that's why Emma Frost would have been the better candidate for this. She's stripped the engine, etc., so that she could telekinetically fly this car using the map. It does not go well, and we get Sync making a little joke. The Thunderbird was cool, but this is way cooler than a jet. Rasputin 4 is a bit, she doesn't really sometimes have the social skills, so rather than go and have a chat, well, she just comes in, storming, etc., just to get to Mr. Fantastic quite quickly, and for this to happen, that is her mission, etc. So she takes on Mr. Thing while Sync and everybody's trying to say we're friends. This is a mistake. She's, she puts the torch to sleep quite quickly as they share sort of blows in terms of you wouldn't even be able to burn me or whatever. He's like, I can burn anything, etc. So Mr. Fantastic just chilling, eating chips, comes out with Miss Fantastic to meet the X-Men, etc. And they are in the countryside right now, and they have gone through their own personal tragedy, which I don't know because I don't read Fantastic Four, but you don't, just so I'm clear, you don't see Valerie in here, or their son Franklin. So like I said, things happened there, and that's the way the Marvel universe is happening. Things are always changing. So you can identify four powers. Bane, I'm trying to understand who Bane is. I seem to have lost the plot. I just can't seem to put my finger on that one. So Miss Marvel is trying to stop him. So Rasputin says, so Mr. Fantastic says, I'm going to figure out, it's my Nugan. I'm going to sort this out. And she says, you misunderstand. We don't care if you retain it. We require it. So that's when she gets put in the shield. And we use, she uses Shadow Cat's ability. So just in terms of her powers not being up to, or a bit different to Shadow Cat's, for example, she cannot walk through the gates like Shadow Cat can right now. Mr. Fantastic makes a point here before we get into more misunderstandings. So he's trying to say that my mind was entered without my consent. That will never happen again. Thing comes in, and the reason this is going on is because Thing likes a brawl. But anyway, we're all friends here. So they're trying to stop this, etc. She says, she doesn't understand why the Great X would take this knowledge if they were really friends. So she almost sees the Fantastic Four as a sort of, they must be hostile because the Great X wouldn't act on this, but the Great X acted like this, Charles Xavier, because he knew what Richards has was dangerous to his country, because that's what Krakoa was. It was a country of people. So, and then we get Mr. Fantastic, who says something different. So it was he says we can work together rather than being alone. Maybe things would have been different now. We've had this sort of speech before from Captain America after Age versus X. We should have helped more through the tough times of mutants, etc. But what Charles Xavier and Magneto did was wrong. But it was perhaps because of his fear of their son Franklin and his mutant abilities in Charles and Magneto's hands that colored his judgment on what he would have shared with them. But however, now he believes that information is going to help these mutants that are in a crisis. They are in a war. They are on the run. They are in danger of becoming an extinct species not once more. It's never happened before. So they go into the hole. But you can just clearly see that that it is missing and not accessible this way. Now, there may be a way to figure this out, but now is not the time. However, this is the moment where Miss Marvel comes in place, because she says that because the Terrigens gave me my inhuman gifts earlier, it masked my mutant ones. And that triggers thinking Reed. That makes it all come together. He realizes how he can mask mutant powers. So Terrigen, in a great big mist cloud, can potentially kill mutants or severely hurt mutants, etc. Some mutants didn't affect at all. But in a very small dose, it could mask them. So he's going to go work on the X gene. And this is what they hid, because I guess at this point, in terms of Franklin and what was going on, he threatened Xavier and Eric that he would use this. He knew how to do it. And that's why it all came about. And like I said, I read that book probably a good few years ago. So me trying to remember every little bit. But it's nice that they've revisited this and sort of resolved it, etc. And they say sorry about my own... the new recruit, etc., being so bold, where perhaps they could have just had a 2-minute conversation, but then it wouldn't have been a comic issue with it. So they say goodbye. They have their own problems, clearly. And also, Johnny has a nice tash there. So our story ends up with us hearing that Juggernaut tried to break out. Nimrod kicked the crap out of him, and rather than punishing him, what Status intends to do, he intends to extract the magic gem that surges through his body and ingest it, so the world is, and he hopes that the world is ready for a Dr. Juggernaut. So that's going to happen in the morning. The food goes down the wrong hole. Firestar's like, excuse me, that just went down the wrong hole, to be continued, and sets us up for the next issue, which is called a Jailbreak. So that is going to be very interesting. And these are the sort of X comics you want to be reading now. If you're trying to read everything, I certainly am not. I will wait till a majority of this comes on Marvel Unlimited and hope that I don't miss something pivotal to what I'm reading in X-Men. So there you go. So there is another fine issue, and this one was a nice plot along. I feel like this was a filler issue that gives us some vital information for this future war, etc. So I'm enjoying it. I really am enjoying this X team coming together and trying to figure everything out. So I hope you liked my video. If you do, please support my channel by subscribing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for those that are already subscribed to my channel. Make sure you look after stuff. And as always, embrace geekiness. Take care. Goodbye.